while. For a while.
Isabella County Board of Commissioners, regular session to order. Stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Lux, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson.
Here.
Commissioner Engler.
Here. Here.
Marino.
Here.
Commissioner Swaney. Commissioner Horton.
Here.
Commissioner Holt.
Here.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Clerk Lux. Next up would be approval of agenda. We'll have general public comment. We have no presentations or special reports. We had a couple earlier in the work session. No appointments to boards and commissions, the consent agenda, and then committee reports. Finance and Administration Committee.
Finance and Administration Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Resources and Public Works Committee.
Public Works Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have no intergovernmental affairs, no administrative controller issues, no unfinished business under new business. We'll have discussion about our next meeting and then general public comment, again, announcements and adjournment. So is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved,
Oh,
Marino.
but Mr. Chairman, before we have that motion, did you want to change anything under new business? We had a discussion earlier. Did you want to change that to a motion on that?
Yep, you're right. We
I
do
would,
wanna change
I would
it.
like to amend under new business A, and I'd like to amend it to read, move to change the August 2nd, 2022 Isabella County Board of Commissioners 4 p.m. work session and 7 p.m. regular meeting location to the Isabella County Road Commission at 2261 East Remus Road, Mount Pleasant, Michigan. 48858.
Support.
Supported. To add that to the agenda, do we need to vote on that or no?
I'll move to adopt the modified agenda.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have an agenda. Brings us down to general public comments. Is there anyone for general public comments? Attending through Zoom, or on the phone? No one? Okay, we'll move right along. We have no presentations or special reports or appointments to boards or commissions. Consent agenda. Commissioner Hutchinson, would you read that motion, please?
Motion reads, move to approve and place on file the June 21st, 2022 regular meeting minutes, the July 12th, 2022 Finance and Administration Committee meeting minutes, the July 12th, 2022 Criminal Justice and County Affair Committee meeting minutes, and the July 12th, 2022 Human Resources and Public Works Committee meeting minutes.
Very good. It's been moved and supported to approve and place on file the consent agenda. Discussion. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson.
Yes.
Commissioner Engler.
Yes.
Commissioner Jelzinski.
Yes.
Commissioner Horton.
Yes.
Commissioner Marino.
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney.
Yes.
Yes.
0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Clerk Lux. That brings us down to committee reports, Finance and Administration Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First up, on the Finance and Administration Committee this evening is the June 17th, 2022 invoice list, the June 24th, 2022 invoice list, July 1st, 2022 invoice list, the July 8th, 2022 invoice list, and the July 14th, 2022 adjustment list. Motion, move to ratify and place on file the June 17th, 2022 invoice list in the amount of $140,003.96. The June 24th, 2022 invoice list in the amount of $296,423.73. The July 1st, 2022 invoice list in the amount of $133,548.55. The July 8th, 2022 invoice list in the amount of $400,453.86. And the adjustment list dated July 14th, 2022.
Been moved and supported to ratify and place on file the June 17th, the June 24th, and the July 1st invoice lists and the July 14th adjustment list discussion.
As commissioners, we received these invoice lists by email. We also had a chance to review them in Finance and Administration Committee. And earlier today in our work session, everything was pretty much above board. I'm not pretty much above board. Everything was above board. And these everything is routine. We've talked about a lot of these in the past and just pretty much ongoing expenses within the June 17th, 2022 invoice list. We had the hats biweekly animal control contract, and the June 24th, 2022. And again, we have hats, we have Preston Community Services. The July 1st, 2022, that's when the public defender appointments had to takes, they have to get paid to represent for the public defense contract work. And then our July 8th, which I skipped over. No, I did not skip over. Again, just usual and customary expenses on that, nothing out of the ordinary. So, and then as to the adjustment list, Gordon Foods, and as we typically see on that, just corrections, a lot of early payments. So gets taken off and gets put back into the invoice list when we make our early payment. So
Very good. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, clerk, what's a roll call, please?
Commissioner Engler? Commissioner Jazinski?
Yes.
Commissioner Horton?
yes.
Commissioner Marino?
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Yes.
Ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Clerk Lutz.
This item of business is the 340B Healthcare Services Agreement. Motion reads, move to approve the 340B Healthcare Services Agreement between the County of Isabella and My Michigan Medical Center, Alpena, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support,
Been moved and supported to approve the 340B Healthcare Services Agreement. Discussion.
This is involving pharmaceuticals for indigent people. And I know we had significant questions about the program, and I don't understand the whole program totally, but I do know it's a federal grant that filters down through local providers. In this case, one of them is My Michigan. And to meet the requirements to get the best financial result from their applications or their participation in the program, they need to switch the health services agreement to the Alpena, because the Alpena hospital is eligible for additional funding that the local hospital is not. So it best positions themselves to get the funding they need to support those services that our indigent population needs.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
As we mentioned before, this was twice presented in our committee. And it was also presented today. 340B is an intricate program. It started out several decades ago in regards to taking care of indigent, like we had talked about, taking care of hospital employees are eligible. And it morphed into, once the Affordable Care Act started, it morphed into something totally different, which is being seen today with the use of contract pharmacies. There's a lot of litigation ongoing with that contract pharmacy entity part of it. This is not really what this involves. So because of that, I think this is maintaining status quo for this group. They do offer vital services to our community. And again, we don't want to see them have to endure anything that might lead to some detriment on their part, and not offer the services that our community expects. So because of that, I'm in favor of it. Some of the other parts, the 340B program, which is not in discussion today, definitely not in favor of that. But this agreement like it stands, yes, I am. So I will be voting in support of it this evening.
Very good explanation of that. And maybe some of that reservation could be directed at our federal representatives. But Buy Michigan is a huge asset to this community. And it's kind of helped make Mount Pleasant kind of a hub of medical care, which is, where the growth is. So it's good. We made My Michigan work for this one. And we asked a lot of in-depth questions, Commissioner Horton especially with his knowledge of it. They were very professional and they came back the second time, the work session with some more experts and really answered all our questions very well, I thought, very professional. So good folks to deal with. And a wonderful asset to this community. So any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino, Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
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 Yes,
0 nays, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Lux.
And Mr. Chairman, with that, that completes the above and beyond board work of this Finance and Administration Committee this evening.
Thank you, gentlemen. That brings us down to Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 2 items on our agenda today. The first one is cremation permits. The motion reads as move to approve the request from Isabella County's Clerk's Office to charge $50 for cremation permit issued through Sparrow Medical Examiner's Office effective August 1st, 2022.
Support. Swaney.
Been moved and supported to approve the request for cremation permits. Discussion.
This was brought to our committee's attention by our Kurt Lux, and apparently we're one of the few counties in the state that has not been charging this fee. So most of the surrounding counties charge $50. So that's to bring us up to date. That's probably where we should be at. So
Very good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Lux, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
yes.
Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope.
Yes,
0 nays, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Lux.
All right, second item on our agenda is fiscal year 2021 Homeland Security Grant Program Intergovernmental Agreement. Motion reads, move to approve the fiscal year 2021 Homeland Security Grant Program Intergovernmental Agreement between West Michigan Regional Medical Consortium and Isabella County in the amount of $22,637. Authorize board chair to sign the same.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the fiscal year 2021 Homeland Security Grant Program intergovernmental agreement. Discussion.
Director of 911 Emergency Management in Isabella County, Mark Griffiths, brought to the subcommittee and then to work session today explanation for this 2021 agreement signing that just brings in another $22,000 funding for the area. Again, we'll be paying $5,000 to the area agent, but that money is utilized for everyone in that area.
Very good. Any questions or comments? Clerk Lux, a roll call, please.
Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Hutchinson,
Yes.
Yes.
Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope.
Yes,
0 nays, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Lux.
Mr. Chairman, that completes the work of the Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Thank you, gentlemen. That brings us down to Human Resources and Public Works Committee.
We've got 5 items on the list tonight. Our first item is Isabel County Master Land Use Plan. Motion reads, move to approve the distribution in the amended Isabel County Master Land Use Plan as required in PA 33 of 2008, the Michigan Planning Enabling Act.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the Isabella County Master Land Use Plan discussion.
Yeah, this was presented to us at the workshop last week and then also tonight by our community development director, Tim Neoport. The whole idea of this is that going through the counties and going through the townships, the counties, the villages, they send out letters, get the letters back. And this is even the counties that are adjacent to us. But they send out all the letters, get it back, and they remap everything. With this program, Tim put in a lot of detail into this as far as the not only the townships and villages and what they amounted to as far as changing things and changing how everything's mapped out and from the last ones that they've had, but also in the airport layouts, the turbine and clean energy program part of it. Then they even got down to the Census Bureau and what that does, and also the unemployment numbers. But real good report, and it's something that it's in the progress. They've sent it out. They're waiting on just a couple letters back, and yes, Commissioner Moreno.
Yeah. Tim mentioned that in population, we decreased 6,000. And he said that he was hoping that the Union Township and city would do a recount. And I did talk to the mayor, Amy, Mount Pleasant, and she said they were going to do it. And I also talked to Brian, the Union Township supervisor, and he said he was looking into it. So that shows how a good relationship the different units of government have together, and how if we pull together, we can improve things. Maybe we can do some things to make people feel like moving back or whatever.
Any further discussion? Yeah, Tim did a terrific job.
Really did.
And,
I mean, I was amazed with all, I mean, it was a lengthy report. Yeah, we went through
yep, and
how it hits everybody, even with the turbines and the regulations from the FAA. Really interesting. So
any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
yes,
Miller,
Yes.
Linsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino, Commissioner Hope.
Yes,
7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Clerk Lux.
Our next item is fiscal year 2023 funding agreements and multi-year plans for volunteer programs. The motion reads, move to approve fiscal year 2023 funding agreements and multi-year plans for volunteer programs between the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Aging and Adult Service Agency, and Isabella County for foster grandparent program in the amount of $204,254, and the senior companion program in the amount of $90,265, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
support,
Been moved and supported to approve the fiscal year 2023 funding agreements and multi-year plans for volunteer programs. Discussion.
Okay, the foster grandparent and the senior companion program through the years have proved to be very, very, very appreciated in the community and having a really good function of interacting with seniors and also providing volunteers with something to do that's really fruitful. And it's a multi-year plan. And this time it's the 48th year of funding. And for the foster grandparent program, and the 23rd year of funding for the Senior Companion Program. And the Foster Grandparent Program is going to get $204,254, with the total budget being $377,125. And the Senior Companion Program will get $90,265 from the AASA out of a total budget of $202,000 and one more time, $202,209.
Good. Lori's mom was a foster grandparent for a number of years. We loved it, and the kids loved her. It was great. It was great for the kids and the volunteers. So, any further discussion? All right, seeing none, clerk Lux, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
yes,
Commissioner Hope.
Yes,
7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, clerk Lux.
Item 3, Art from Our Parks 2022 event, mini grant contract. Motion reads, move to approve the mini grant contract between Saginaw Arts and Enrichment Commission and Isabel County for additional funding for the Art from Our Park 2022 event, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the Art from Our Parks 2022 event mini grant contract discussion.
Now, this is a program that it's been ongoing, and it's been involving, getting a little bigger every year. This year we had funds of $3,000, and this is enabling us to get another $300 on top of that, and keep this program going and making it bigger every year.
Had any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk Lux, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
yes,
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
yes,
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope.
Yes,
7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, clerk Lux.
Okay, our next item is the Mount Pleasant Area Community Grant Agreement. The motion reads, move to approve the Mount Pleasant Area Community Foundation Grant Agreement in the amount of $11,000 for the Chippewa River Erosion and Canoe Launch Project, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the Mount Pleasant Area Community Grant Agreement discussion.
Yeah, as we've had previous meetings on this topic of the erosion at the Deerfield Park. I mean, not the, yeah, Deerfield Park. And since 2021, and the goal is to stabilize several spans of the river bank along the Chippewa River that have erosion problem areas. And we did it a couple of times. We're going to be getting it started in 2021. But when the request for bids for construction work was issued, only one bid was received by the deadline. And so, and increased over $100,000 in 2021 after we first put it out for construction services. And due to the obligatory rebid and construction costs, we anticipate this increase in the final cost and sought and secured an additional $30,000 in funding for the project for a total of $81,000 in external funding. $10,000 of the funding came from the fall 2021 grant from Mount Pleasant Area Community Foundation and was given with the condition that the funds go solely toward the river bank erosion repair. So with the Isabella County Parks project match up to $91,800 in April 2022, we submitted another grant application to the Mount Pleasant Area Community Foundation in May, and receiving assistance specifically with the parts of the project that would improve access to the recreation on the Chippewa River. And that was for $11,000, and that's what we're talking about here tonight. So we really appreciate the help from the Mount Pleasant Area Community Foundation in this respect. And finally, we'll get relief to those badly needed repairs to the banks.
Commissioner Sweeney.
I'd like to give a shout out to Sue Ann Kopmeyer for continuing to work hard to find grants here and there. I mean, I think this project has been assisted funding from, it looks like 8 or so different grants. So she's really working hard to get value to our constituents. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Good
And
comment.
I would like to shout out to, just piggyback that I think this is the second time in this project that the Mount Pleasant Area Community Grant Agreement, they.
Very much.
Thank you very, very much.
Any
And we
further?
started. I teased, ever since I've been here, this has come up. I've been teasing Sue Ann right from the get-go. We're underway.
Done. Any further discussion? Clerk Lux, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Yes.
Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Clerk Lux.
Okay, the fifth and last thing on our list is budget amendment 2022-10, skid steer repair and associated costs. Motion reads, move to approve the use of Isabel County Material Coverage Facility Equipment Reserve Fund balance to cover the skid steer repair and associated costs in the amount of $35,756.05, and authorize the board chair to sign budget amendment 2022-10.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve budget amendment 2022-10 skid steer repairs and associated costs. Discussion.
Yeah, this is one of those that's a real unfortunate thing. It's not that old of a piece. Little accident in prepping, and it's just a vital piece for the MRF out there. It's one of those things that we got to have. We actually, and this cost also covers the rental when the piece was down, and put a new program in place to ensure that this never happens again. Fortunate thing, but they're asking for the 35,746.05, and it is.
Good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Lux, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Clerk Lux. Sorry.
That concludes the work of the Human Resources and Public Works Committee, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, gentlemen. That brings us down to intergovernmental affairs, of which we have none, no administrator, controller, business, no unfinished business. Under new business, we do have August 2nd, 2022 Isabella County Board of Commissioners meeting discussion. And in the work session, we discussed wanting to keep that date, and that would necessitate meeting in another location. Between meetings, Administrative Controller Frost got a hold of the Road Commission for the top of meeting there, and they're more than happy to host us for that meeting on August 2nd. And I believe Vice Chairman Horton added a motion under new business. Would you like to present that?
Yes, I
motion?
will. And I can read.
Would like to do that first?
I can easily read this one because it's not in my handwriting, which is a good thing. Move to change the August 2nd, 2022 Isabella County Board of Commissioners 4 p.m. work session and 7 p.m. regular meeting location to the Isabella County Road Commission at 2261 East Remus Road, Mount Pleasant, Michigan. And the zip code on that for those who want to mail something is 48858.
Support.
Moved and supported to move the August 2nd, 2022 Isabella County Board of Commissioners meeting to the road commission building.
I think you pretty much covered it. So took away the thunder. I was looking forward to speaking for about 5 minutes, but you took that from me and just decided to move on a little quicker. So I'm going to be quiet.
Oh, there's.
Up the floor, I'll take it. I was suggesting that maybe we can all make a contribution and have pizza or something and have a tour of the facility between work session and the county board meeting and have a little meal out there too.
And I think Tony Caselli has indicated that he would be happy to give us a tour of the building.
I will, yes, we'll be there in between buildings. I don't know necessarily that it would be him, but I will communicate with him and even if we don't get the tour, we're gonna be in their building. And we can definitely coordinate some emails to coordinate some dinner
Okay.
in between.
Real nice.
Mr. Engler.
Yeah, I have practice that week.
Bring that in to fix it in their new shop. It's really nice. Yeah.
Yep, any other discussion on that? Okay, seeing none, clerk Bucks, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweetie,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton, Commissioner Hope.
Yes.
7-0 nays, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Clerk Lux. And that brings us down to general public comment. Do we have anyone online? We have no one online and no one in the audience, so we can move right along to announcements. Commissioners, any announcements? Vice Chairman Horton.
Earlier today, I talked about the Medical Control Authority Board, which I am the board's representative to. And they're in the process of when emergency medical vehicles, i.e. ambulances, or go to a place that somebody has overdosed and been administered naloxone or has suffered an overdose, that they are going to be leaving naloxone kits at that facility. They've gotten, I believe it was part of a grant, I believe. And it was quite coordinated through Mid-Michigan, or my Michigan, who's working along with My Health Michigan. And it's working very well together with McLaren. And that was very good to see that the cooperation between the two, again, emphasizing that we're all one community and everyone's working together for the betterment of our community. So that's going to be being implemented sometime this year. And something I forgot to mention too, is Mark Griffiths in that meeting, they're going to be planning or in the process of planning, would like to do some type of emergency response training or protocol, because as we've seen, especially in the past few months, it's pretty much becoming not a matter if, but when. And you really want to be prepared. I know all the entities undergo training, but I remember going to a meeting last month and sitting there and, I was given a box. I think I represented you maybe on that. I can't remember. For whatever reason, I was, and they gave me a box, and they said, and then there was booklets and all this other stuff, and telephone numbers, and they said, in an emergency response, you're responsible for this. And it's like, okay, all righty. So yeah, it's a major undergoing, and to be able to plan something, again, it's not something that's going to come together quickly. I think they're looking at even next year, but they're also talking about just doing a roundtable situation where the people in that room is going to be the responsible parties and at least get it started, because I know the sheriff, he had their group undergoes training. I'm sure all the other law enforcement groups undergo training and active shooter trainings and everything. And you have to have that. It has not just be one and done, as we've seen. You got to keep going on with that. So I'm glad our community is doing that. And I'm just saying, letting you know that that's part of what the Medical Control Authority Board will be getting involved in more. So.
Good. Any other announcements? Commissioner Sweeney.
Yesterday we had the meeting of the E. coli ad hoc, which hadn't met since 2019 because of COVID and things, getting that back on board. The Central Michigan District Health Department presented, and also Chippewa Saginaw Tribe presented their water sampling of the Chippewa River and North Branch. I would like to just leave one take-home message for Isabella County citizens, that the legislation that led to the reviewing of septic systems before sale and making sure that they are functional has, led to replacing about 150 septic systems that were putting sewage directly into our environment. And now that septic is being treated. And it's a very good thing for Isabella County and its rivers and environment.
Commissioner Swaney, I have
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question for you, and sorry I didn't trigger it in the
No,
business meeting, in the work session. I was involved in that committee when it first got started and everything. Can you give me an update? I don't think it's complete, and this is another ignorant question of mine. Where is the genesis of this was obviously with what was going on in the Beale City and some of that issue. Where is that project at right now? And is that or one of the commissioners in their district chime in? Where is that project at right now? Is that completed? Is it not completed?
It is, they're not hooked up yet. The project is in process, and I believe they were talking about coming online in the coming year, was what was said, and that they were looking forward to being able to take samples, and especially that North Branch area after, and to see how the E. coli levels drop on that. But so they're obviously municipality public works. It's going to take a few years to get all those lines hooked up to a main line.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'd be next, I think in March, so I will not be around in March.
Right.
Okay, for my birthday in March, maybe when you have your next meeting in March, if
I'll
I
text
are
you.
getting, can you come, if you could, I'd like to see like where some of the lakes involved. I think some of the lakes are going to be tying into it. And as we go forward, you've seen the cooperation, how they were able to get from Beale City. I don't mean to pick on Beale City, but that area. And go through and make it all the way to the city by going through Union Township and going down the road right of ways and everything. In the future, I know, and it took millions of dollars, so it's not an inexpensive project by any means. I know Representative Houck was instrumental in getting millions of dollars for that project. But as we go forward in the future, there's a lot of subdivisions, there's a lot of lakes, there's a lot of properties involved in our community that has septic systems. And if there's any way that things can get done or tied into and being able to get a septic system in progress. I live in a subdivision that's just, it's just outside the city limits. It's in Union Township. And I have a septic field. And to look at my neighborhood, you would think, looking through that, you think it's got municipal water, but I have septic. I've had 2 drain fields dug. So, we have to think, we're getting into renewable energy. We also have to think of our environment in other ways. And I think this would be a good way. Again, it's going to be expensive. It's not cheap. It's not going to get any less inexpensive. But I think we need to look forward. Thinking on that. Just down the road in again, talking Union Township, just down east of, they have connections because they're connected at a different spot. So and across the street is the city in my district. Right across the street is the city of Mount Pleasant, and probably could tie into that. So communities have to think, neighborhoods have to think ways to get out of, to do this. I think it's a fantastic thing that's being done, and it's solving a problem. It truly is. So again, I didn't mean to digress. I'm sorry about that, but you took 5 minutes, so I had to say something. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out that the capacity of the city wastewater plant is the determinant of how many hookups there's going to be. They had some spare room, and it was a consent agreement that because they were breaking the law in that township, they had to do it. They were fined, and now this is happening. I'm glad it's happening, but I also like to point out there's several wastewater plants in this area, which is amazing. There's the city, there's the tribe. I believe there's Union Township too, also has a wastewater plant. I used to work at the wastewater plant at the tribe. So I know how important these things are as well. And you know, you mentioned expensive costs, but it's really expensive. Like Steve's, Commissioner Sweeney talked about how all those gallons of sewage were diverted from the river. That's an even bigger cost. And you know, so it's really important to do these things because it costs more not to.
Commissioner England.
Yeah. Phase one got, they had to get an extension on there, so it was pushed back a little bit, so they did get that approval. Phase two will actually include Cowater Park. And we'll have to make, I know in our Parks Committee, we discussed the cost, of course, cost keeps changing and how we want to do that. So that will be coming up to the board in the future if they get started on the second tier of the project. So just a reminder that we have to make a decision on how much we want to hook that park up. I mean, we put a lot of effort in bringing that park up to modernization, and it's pretty well packed all summer. So just a reminder that that will be coming up in that area, taking Cowater Park. So
I think, and Steve King definitely said this in his presentation, the time of transfer ordinance is working. It's catching a lot of systems that needed repair, and they're getting repaired now that might not have in the past. Millions of gallons of sewage is being treated before it wasn't, but I think Michigan, if I'm correct, I think is the only state in the country that does not require some periodic inspection of septic systems. So a few counties and townships are kind of doing it piecemeal. But I know when I first got on the board, I know Commissioner Horton pushed this and former Administrator McAvoy, and they had to go around, get the other 5 counties in the district health department to agree to let Isabella County implement such an ordinance. So they went around to all those boards and commissions.
That was hard.
Got their approval to do it. It was a long process, but it's a good program. I do agree. I think maybe if we can get the system in Beale City and Coldwater Lake, and I think we can keep working on it and keep moving beyond just the time of transfer ordinance into other municipal systems and things like that. So. Any other announcements? I'll just kind of repeat the one I made earlier. Central Michigan Community Mental Health for Central Michigan has a new executive director, Brian Krogman, who was the previous deputy director. He'll be presenting to the board in September, along with Jen McNally, the program administrator for Isabella. 6-county entity with $138 million budget, most of which is Medicaid dollars from the federal government. Our Isabella County's portion of that is $34 million that gets spent here in the county on various programs, and it's not just mental health, but it's people with developmental disabilities they take care of. Autism, they have an autism center in the old Rosebush Elementary that they run with Isabella Grash and RESD. Fantastic program, and I think they keep kids there through age 21 and work on job skills and all sorts of things. And the idea in mental health and developmental disabilities nowadays is to integrate people in the community, get them working in jobs if possible. Self-determination, folks determining their own care, what they want out of life. And since I've been on that committee, since I got on the board, it's just been a fantastic, eye-opening experience for me. Is just so many things that they do. It's really exciting. So I look forward to Brian Krogman presenting to the board here shortly. And that's all I have. Any other announcements? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're Adjourned at 7:44.
Yeah.